intentionally teaching about media and media literacy. And this can be done at a very young age. When my children were like 2 and 4, and they would watch their little shows, but the commercials would come on, and then they'd go, I want that toy. I want, as they do. And I would talk to them about, okay, like really, so why do you want that toy right now? And we talk about like the advertisement and why does it look so cool and so fun? And do you really think it, even though in their language at that young age? And I continued to have those conversations. So it's a big for parents to sit with their children at times, not all the time, not 24/7, guys. I know you need a break. Listen, I was a single mother for 15 years. I get it. Right. But take, 5 or 10 minutes to sit with them and see what they're watching and have that discussion and have them look at these visual messages as they get older and understand, okay, where are these messages coming from? Who is creating these messages? Right. Because also when they're searching the internet later on, they have to be able to critically understand and look at, is this a reliable source of this information?
Welcome to Single Parent Success Stories, a podcast designed to inspire single parents. Here you'll find resources from self-care to finances to parenting and everything in between. Discover what it takes to thrive. Let the stories inspire you to what is possible. Hello and welcome to Single Parent Success Stories. Today we have a special guest, a returnee, Natalie McCabe. She is a practical visionary with a mission to change the world one family at a time. Natalie has been a teacher for 30 years, a single parent for 15, and she has been an orphan for over 25 years. She has had to travel the journey of parenting alone and learn what she could along the way. She has written an amazing book, Sink or Swim Parenting, sharing her personal stories of surviving to thriving. The book also includes a wide variety of practical strategies to use in all aspects of parenting, from toddlers to teens. Natalie also founded an after-school program in her hometown 15 years ago to help solve her own lack of childcare. She has also run a thriving kinder music franchise for a few years. And currently, she is coaching parents on one-on-one with their struggles. She focuses on co-parenting and helping parents who are navigating through divorce. Natalie says, one day my story will be someone else's survival guide. She wants parents to know they are not alone. They can never be perfect, but they can find the joy in parenting. Welcome, Natalie. It is a pleasure to have you.
Hi, Irina. Good to see you again.
Yeah, thank you. So before we started, we decided that today's conversation will be all about screen time. So please share with us,
Yes.
Why is it important to know that we gotta monitor our screen time and what we can...
Right. Well, it's such a big part of our culture and society today. Parents, we're on our phones, we're scrolling Instagram and Facebook, and we're automatically, parents are giving it to their children at very, very young ages. The research that is coming out, and that has been coming out for a number of years, that has not been put to the public is how the effects of very young children just staring at a screen, mindlessly consuming content, is really affecting their brains. It's affecting their critical thinking skills. It's affecting their emotional regulation skills. There are some really big effects that are not great. I understand, as I've been a single parent, and I know, parents are saying, well, I just need a break. If I just give them my phone or they go on the iPad for a minute, I get a minute to, I understand that, but children under 2, you can give them an empty paper cup and they really will play with that for, 15, 20 minutes also. It's about getting a bit more creative and adding those 3-dimensional experiences. Because technology will never teach our children social skills. Technology will not teach our children emotional regulation or critical thinking or problem solving, maybe as they get older and they're playing strategy games, right? But those young children, that's when those skills are developed. And it's really important that we focus, and we're never going to get rid of technology, guys, and so don't feel bad if you're using that with your children. But I mean, I ask parents that I coach, what value, who do you want to impose values on your children? Do you want them to have your values, or do you want big tech to have giving your children those values, right? So it's really about, you know, who do you want getting into your child's mind, right?
Right, right, totally. Yeah, you make very, very important point that, yeah, if we want them to have our values, it's our job to instill them through communication and through
Exactly.
other ways. So what parents can do in that regard?
So I mean, I kind of touched on it a little bit. So there's a couple of things. The first thing is think about the other things that your child needs that technology cannot give them, right? That strong, loving parent-child bond. Are they getting that through technology from watching a screen? No, they're not. And there's many different, you can watch the little videos on YouTube or whatever, where they show a parent on a phone and a toddler just whining, crying, not getting that loving bond and connection. So definitely that's number one. As the children get older, you want them to have an interior life. You want them to have a positive self-talk. You want them to be thinking about things, right? Technology is not going to do that. Right. We have to have discussions and ask our children as they get older, what are they thinking about these things to develop those skills? We want them to have an imagination. Again, technology is not going to do that. Generate their imagination, allow them to, expand and blossom that imagination, because then that leads to more creativity. Let's get creative. Again, if they're watching things, if that media is being given to them, it takes away their ability to be able to create that imagination, which is so important for, again, critical thinking, problem solving, all these things going forward. Parents can get them out into the larger community, right? Act different, get activities, and even using technology. Let's see, you have a 9-year-old that wants to help the homeless. Well, maybe that child is going to make knit mittens and advertise them online, right? I mean, there's ways to use technology in a positive way. Movement, huge, right? That, again, sitting while playing video games all day is not getting you moving, right? Maybe a few of them, the old Wii, we used to, move around with that one, but really outdoors, fresh air, children just, they need this. My childcare center is a licensed childcare, and, our government says a minimum 2 hours a day outside. And that's minimum, no matter what the weather is. Well, okay, we're in Canada, so, if it's minus 30, we don't take them outside. But, if they're dressed for it, I mean, this is where children blossom. This is where they can be creative. And sensory activities, something playing with sand, as they get older, there's many other different activities. So, what I'd say to parents is focus on those other things as well. I'm not saying we're never going to get rid of technology, right? But it's that balance. We want our children to have an imagination and all these other things. Now, to get another aspect of that is you do have to set limits, guys. You really do. How many parents out there, I can hear them now, oh, my kid screams when I go to take the iPad away. Of course they do. They're getting that hit, that dopamine, that excitement. So you have to set limits, and you have to stick to them, and you have to listen to the whining. It does reduce as they're given more experience to be creative and be bored. The boredom actually helps creativity. So it's not easy, but I have faith you guys can do it, because what you see on the other end is this, imaginative, happier child that later on will be able to, manage their own screen time, right? This is what we'd like to get to by the time they're teenagers. Also, they can think about their home, the environment. What's the space like? Is it set up as high tech? Are all the chairs like facing this giant TV, right? Or is it a high touch? Is it a more warm environment where people are encouraged to interact more at the dinner table or in the living room to have conversations? This is a big one. Intentionally teaching about media and media literacy. And this can be done at a very young age. When my children were like 2 and 4, and they would watch their little shows, but the commercials would come on, and then they'd go, I want that toy. I want, as they do. And I would talk to them about, okay, like really? So why do you want that toy right now? And we talk about like the advertisement and why does it look so cool and so fun? And do you really think it, even though in their language at that young age? And I continued to have those conversations. So it's a big for parents to sit with their children at times. Not all the time, not 24/7, guys. I know you need a break. Listen, I was a single mother for 15 years. I get it, right? But take, 5 or 10 minutes to sit with them and see what they're watching and have that discussion and have them look at these visual messages as they get older and understand, okay, where are these messages coming from? Who is creating these messages, right? Because also when they're searching the internet later on, they have to be able to critically understand and look at, is this a reliable source of this information? You know, they have to they benefit from knowing that this media is made up, that someone else created it. And I always love to let the child know, hey, you could have made a better ending to that movie. You could have wrote a better screenplay to that TV show, or right, like, we can use media to build on their creativity as well when we are with them and we're a part of the teaching. Get creative, have fun with it.
Totally, totally. I agree with you that screen time can take away negative creativity, because when we're watching a movie, it's somebody else's idea of what it is. It's already been said, and the story has been said. And when we read a book, let's say, we get to imagine that story. We get to imagine the character, what they look like, how they behave, how they interact, and we create that whole movie in our head. And I think that's beautiful because you can create different kind of alternative solutions when you like doing it like that. Is there, I called, any for different ages, or is it like a general rule of thumb? How much time on screen time?
So the American Pediatrics Association, they say no screen time for children under 2 unless it's FaceTime.
Mhm.
And that this is when the explosion of neurons and explosion of just all of their skills are happening. And like I said, social skills, emotional regulation. There's no show. I don't care if it's, back in the day it was Teletubbies. Today it's some Miss. There's a big popular one for little ones on YouTube now. Sorry, I know you think it's educational. That it's not educational in the way that your child needs that strong, loving bond and three-dimensional experiences, meaning something they can see, hear, taste, smell, touch. It doesn't have to be fancy toys. Just, here's a little bowl of water to play with a towel. Just get creative. There's so many amazing things that we can do with those young children under 2. My daughter was happy with a empty paper coffee cup for like, I don't know, an hour and a half when she was a toddler, just exploring it and chewing it. I was like, wow, why did I buy any toys? Like you really don't need them. Um, they want to be doing what you're doing. At that age, they want to be just by your side and observing and, so really now ages 3 to 5, they're American, they say 15-minute chunks of time, 20-minute chunks of time, with slower paced shows, ideally with the parent, to be there and discuss. And I know people say, oh my gosh, they're too young to discuss the show, right? But I have a funny story. When I was parent coaching a young lady, and her little fella, she wanted to reduce the screen time, but I mean, you always have some screen time. And so I said, I wanted to start this media literacy thing kind of young, right? And so I said to her, I said, well, as you're watching the show with him, ask him about what is this character feeling, or on Paw Patrol. I think that's a big one now. She was kind of looking at me like, Natalie, really? We're discussing the feelings of the, I said, just try it. Just, try it. And she did. And then she would also do her own running commentary, what she thought about, the kid. She said she felt silly doing it at first, but after about a week, Irina, her 2.5-year-old, started, pointing out to her and asking her questions about the characters or the situation or how they were feeling, right? So, don't underestimate these little sponges that you have, those 3 to 5 year olds, right? You can get them critically thinking. You can expand their imagination by using these shows. 6 to 10 in about an hour a day, hour and a half. That, again, slower paced things, video games. Try to get more ones that have used critical thinking, problem solving, their interest. I know there's so many things out there. Parents just got to be involved. You have to know what they're watching, what they're playing. Have your computer or technology in the family area of the home so you can easily just see, hear, what's happening. And that's the age to develop that media literacy for sure. 6 to 10, right? Give them those. They have to be able to critique visual messages. They have to be able to have thoughtful opinions about what they're seeing. And you have to ask them the questions about their video games and things like, so what are you getting out of this video game? What is exciting you about this video game? Once you know that, take that information into the 3D world and say, okay, maybe we can create a board game based on this premise, right? Like extend their interest in these different things from the screen to the real world, so that then later they can have that balance, right, of building their imagination and using the technology for learning and exploring the world. Like I said, it's not going anywhere, but we don't want that media to control our children. We want our children to use that media as a tool under our tutelage and our values as a family.
You make very good points. I love that. And especially how to bring stuff into the 3D world. What are you getting out there to get them more involved, more kind of thinking outside the box and recreating the same kind of feeling or emotion that they've gotten from a game in the real world, and being able to replicate that. Totally.
Yeah.
Any other advice when it comes to screen time?
Just, limit your own as a parent. Your kids are watching you. They're watching you. And really think about what you're thinking about. I mean, is scrolling Facebook or Instagram bringing you joy? Or I mean, are you scrolling and going, oh, because I used to do this. I'd be scrolling Facebook going, oh, look at so-and-so and their husband and their family, and they're on a vacation. And here's me, single mother, in my, regional housing, can't go anywhere, can't do anything. That wasn't making me feel good, right? I've since changed up. You can, every site that I'm a part of on Facebook or people I follow on Instagram they're fun, they're funny, it's joyful, right? So now when I do take a minute and I'm scrolling Facebook, it's always, it's a positive quote or a funny video. I love to watch the toddler videos. My friends like the animal videos. I love kids, so I love the little funny toddler videos. It can be used as a tool to bring you joy. It's your choice. What are you filling your brain with? Your kids are watching. So first things first, right? And just set up your home environment, get creative, and use the technology in a creative way. I mean, fun thing, I know a family, another lady I coach, she has 4 kids, right? Trying to manage from ages 4 to 9, trying to manage their kind of screen time and have those conversations, right? I said, Aaron, take a blanket, put on a show, throw it over the TV, have them listen. What do they think's going on? Right? I mean, what a fun activity. Every kid, I'm sure, is going to have a different idea, a different vision of what's happening on that screen. I mean, it's as simple as that, guys. Everybody has a blanket, you know? And take the TVs out of the room, please. I know I really can't force people to do that, but going to sleep watching a screen, just go Google that. Do your own research. I have about 200 studies here available to me, and I don't want to scare people. But have a look at that. Not good. It's not good for you either as a parent. So you want to get your sleep.
Yeah, you're right, totally. Kind of monitoring what we watch, what kind of things are in our mind and also in a kid's mind when they scroll or watch media. And yeah, totally right about going to bed with watching a screen. It's what kind of images we kind of in ingrain ourselves with, and then we go to sleep with those images. A better way would be like we tell a fairy tale to a child. What if we tell a fairy tale to ourselves, remembering
Mhm.
three things that went well that day, or imagining what a life can be, creating that fairy tale in our brain as opposed to consuming someone else's idea of what life should be like.
And yes, Irina, over my years in teaching, I've seen a decrease in children in the elementary school classroom that have that ability to use their imagination. Some children, you try to get them to write a creative story, and basically they're just writing about a show they've seen, right? And I mean, or ask them to close their eyes and visualize, a tree or whatever. And I've had children over the years be able to say to me, I can't, I just see blackness, right? So it is important to develop that imagination. All the greatest inventors and everything in the world, it's creative and it's using your imagination, right? That creativity, we really need that in this world going forward, right? It's really important to have if we want to change this world. That's why in my bio it says I want to change one family at a time, because our children are going to change this for us, right? With these skills that their imagination and their critical thinking and their problem solving skills, they're the ones, that are going to make this world a better place. So let's support them in that.
Totally agree with you. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing on this important topic. If people would like to connect with you, learn more about you, where would they go?
They would go to my website, which is just nataliemccabe.com. They can find me on Instagram, Natalie McCabe Official, and on Facebook, Natalie McCabe Parent Coach. So
So, thank you so
reach
much.
out, book a free call. We can have a chat.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Irina.